Well, hello fam, welcome back to JJ's PC Build. You know what it is, JJ right here. Well, we're going to try to do something today. I know I said on the last video we were going to do, we were going to do Second Life and we were going to do some benchmarking. But first, before we do all that, what we're going to do is we're just going to benchmark, and then maybe on the next video we could do Second Life. So I just want to stretch it out in between videos, so I want to concentrate just on one thing, and that's taking care of benchmarking, so we all can see what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and move things around. So today we are moving our action screen. We're moving our action screen around. So let's go ahead and see if we can change this. There we go. So we changed it to this monitor is because the fact of that some of the testing will do it on the primary monitor other than the secondary monitor. So what I have to do is I have to switch it from the primary to, from the secondary back to the primary, so that way y'all can see the testing. And what we're going to be accomplishing is we're going to be doing performance testing. Alrighty, let's run the 3D Mark 11. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Looks like a pretty good one. We'll kind of see what it's going to do. Oh, that's right. YouTube's being a butthead about the sound. So what I'm doing is I'm muting the sound. So this way I don't get copyright strikes from YouTube. Just to let y'all know that. Hold on, I gotta start this again. This test ain't right. This test is not right. We need to get something going here. I need to open up GPU-Z, so this way I can monitor it from GPU-Z. Alright, so let's go ahead and try this again. And it's still not right. Damn. Still not right. Okay, so we need to move this down and over. Okay, so let's try it again. Here we go. 3D Mark 11. There, now you guys can see it. Well, I know why you can't see it. How about we move it over a little bit? and make it a little bit more interesting. That's why y'all couldn't see it. It was way too far off in the sunset. I do apologize about that. This program here, this is part of FurMark, or was it this used to be the first 3D Mark. You know, well, not the first, but 3D Mark 11. But it's not like the ones that you get on Steam now. This is totally, you can download this. You know, the older versions from 3D Mark's website, they still do work. But, you know, this is just testing the GPU and seeing what it's going to give, if it's going to give anything. So, as you can see, the megahertz is 2910, 28. It's flip-flopping back and forth. I don't have it pushed. I don't have the GPU pushed. This is just running at stock. This right here is just running at stock. So, we'll do this one test. We'll do it at stock. And then we'll do the next test where we can push it up a little bit harder. But as you can see, we don't have much of an issue. Everything's running nice and smooth. That's what I'm saying. You really don't have to overclock this GPU. GPU does great right by itself. I mean, if you're looking for more performance and you know what you're doing, then, you know, that's up to you. But if you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't suggest you to overclock it. I would not. I'd suggest you just plug and play and be happy with it. Right now it's running at plug and play. So even at 2925, GPU's only at 108 degrees. I'm not even hitting 100 watts, you know, and it's only running at 50, almost 50%. Well, it's at 50%, but, you know, I mean, it depends on what game you play and everything else. But on an average, it seems to be pulling what it needs to. And looking at the motherboard, it's only drawing 100 watts off of the motherboard. GPU is only pulling like 70 watts. You know, the processing chip's only pulling 70 watts. The 8-pin connector is only pulling 70 watts. You know, I know it seems like this is what it goes through when it comes on and goes off. So, I mean, I can't shake this with the stick. I mean, I really can't. To me, it looks great. I don't know to y'all. Y'all leave a comment. And don't worry about that watermark. I'm going to get rid of that soon. I'm just testing with Windows 10. This computer is designed and will do Windows 11. But I want to do, if I'm going to do Windows 11, I want to make sure I do it under a fresh install. You know, under a fresh install. So that way, it just rocks right along. But I do have the codes for this, the product key code. I haven't put it in because I'm just testing it. I am just testing this only. So, and you really don't need a product key unless you want to change the display background and stuff for, you know, the personalization. And it's only when you really need the key for. Everything else works fine on the computer. Other than you got that watermark, so what? Who cares? Regardless, who cares the watermark's there? You know, it doesn't bug me. If it bugs you, then that's a problem. That's your problem. It doesn't bug me. I've been running Windows 10 for many of years. I got one computer that has a product key. So that's another time for another issue. But this right here, this is the one that I'm just testing with, seeing what's going on. You know, see if these newer cards can run with this older system, which is the B450 motherboard and the Ryzen 5 5600G. Okay, now as you can see, it's running with the best of it. So, you know, I mean, you can see in Fahrenheit, not Celsius. This is Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Do not get those two mixed. There's two different variations when it comes to heat and temperature. I want y'all to understand that. I mean, so that way you don't think, oh my God, he's killing his PC. He's killing his CPU. He's killing this and that. No, I'm not. I'm not killing nothing. And as you can see right here, well, sorry about that. I had something on my screen. As you can see right here, it says E31946. That's 31,946 on the score. Okay, this is from 3D Mark 11. Graphics score 77,389. Physics scores 13,727. Combined score of 13,009. Okay, so to me, I think that's good. I really think it is. You know, so I don't know what you all think, but I know I think that it's good for me. You know, so there are older tests you can run with. Let me get you back to my face so you can see it. There we go. Okay. Now, the thing is this. I run these older tests is because I want to see from what was back then to today. Okay. Going back a few years to now to see what the tests are. See, if you're running the now today test, you're only going to get so much information. But if you're going back to the early days and running that test again to see how much more power you got from your newer system compared to what it was back then, running these programs will give you a better insight. Let's say you have an older system, right, with 90% of the parts, okay, you still have, or let's say you got 100% of the parts and you ran a test on the older software in the beginning, and you got a record of what you did. Then what you do is you take and say, okay, well, I took some of the parts out of there and made my new PC. So let's see what this new PC can do. So if you got 80 to 90% of your parts, let's say you didn't keep the motherboard, you didn't keep the processor, right? But there's still the same manufacturer. They're different generations. Let's say you do Intel. Let's say you got second gen and you did the first test, and then now you're up to 13th gen and you did the test. See what the test is when you did the second gen compared to the 13th gen. Or if it's Ryzen, you can go to the AMD Athlon and see what it is, see what it was back then to what you got now and compare the two. So you can see the difference between the two. You know, I like doing comparison like that is because back then I knew the speeds and everything else and if it was fast or slow. To me, you know, as computers went on, in your mindset, everything was fast. And then it just became faster and faster and faster as you went up into the years. That's the mindset. Now, if you take that mindset and say, okay, I got this speed now, take it back to like 10 years. Have a system ready to go that's 10 years old, and then run the same test on your newer system and your older system and compare the differences in speed and everything else from what 10 years ago was to now. And that's something you can talk about. Okay? Now, if you're going back a year to 2 years to 3 years, you know, you're jumping year to year to year. Who's really got time for all that? So, take now, go back 10 years, see the difference between the two, and see where I'm talking about. So, which I do have a second gen Intel. Or is it? No. That's a third gen Intel, but it's with DDR2, which it's a Dell Optiplex. Was it the 780, something like that? I got that over here. Over here. And it still works, and it's still running. Believe it or not, it's still running till this day. And it runs just as good as everything else. Which it's got a 4 gig video card in it, which I don't care for the video card. You know, I want to see what an 8 gigabyte or a 12 gigabyte card is going to do to it. So that'll probably be another agenda to get to upgrade that system, going from the Intel, was it the i5 2400 to go to the i7 2600, and that's its max. It can go to the i7 2600. So I'll end up finding a processor like that, taking the processor, plugging it into this, and upgrading the processor. Now for the RAM, it only can go up to 16 gigs of RAM. Right now, I have it set on 8 gigs of RAM, which I need to pick up an all new set of DDR3. I think that's DDR3. Pick me up an all new set of DDR3, 16 gigs, matching set. Has to be matching. So it's four cards, so it's 4 times 4. They'll give you the 16. Or I could do 8 times 2 to make it 16. But I think it runs better when use all 4 of the lanes for the RAM. So I think it's better to do it that way. It runs like a beast. just like that. So, just like my PC now, the PC I have here now is running all four sockets, and got a total of 64 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs per socket, times 4. Runs like a beast. Believe it or not, I don't need to push it past the recommended, what was it they said? I don't need to push it past, and I got it right here. Okay, so let's see. Vengeance Lpx memory is designed for high performance overclocking. The heat spreader uses... What does that say? Jeez, sorry I got bad eyes. The heat spreader uses aluminum for faster heat dissipation, and the low profile design fits into most micro ATX and mini ATX systems. Okay, so there are 2 cards. They're made in Taiwan, but it doesn't tell me anything about the overclocking. But it's backed up by a limited lifetime warranty. Okay, so it says it's for overclocking. So we need to invest. It supports Intel. Huh. And it doesn't support AMD? Interesting. Let's see. Now the 16 gigabyte one, see, I got the box here for the 16 gigabyte. Let's see what's changed since the 16 and the 32 on the box. Nope, still supports the same thing. Huh, I must have missed that one. Yep, still supports the same thing. Okay, what we're going to do now, since these are the same, the 2 16 gig sticks are the same megahertz and everything else as the 2 8 gig sticks. So these are matching, believe it or not. I have all matching RAM. I like the Corsair Vengeance. Let's go ahead and move this around. Put this where it needs to be. Get this off of the screen. Okay, since we're not doing any more of that, let's go ahead to the action screen. Let's do the display capture. Let's move it to the secondary. And let's see if we can get this balanced again. Okay. Let's see. Can we balance it out? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and open this up and get this corrected. Give me a moment, y'all. I have to correct it a little bit. I know y'all don't really want to watch this today. Okay. Alright. We'll leave it right there. Screw it. Okay. So, Corsair RAM Lpx specs. Okay, let's see what they got here. Let's see what we can find out. Let's go to tech specs. So you can always find out about your RAM, so it's not hard. I mean, Corsair is good about that. I mean, 16 gigabytes, tested latency 16, 18, 18, 36, 32 tested speed, XMP 2.0, compatibility, AMD 400 series right there, so it's compatible with mine. They give you the compatibility chart so you know if the Corsair RAM is compatible or not. Do make sure you look at their website to make sure the RAM you're going to pick up is compatible with your system. That's big importance. So, just to make sure that, you understand that. Speed is 2133, which, that's true. It goes from 2133 to 3200. Their baseline latency is 21. The speed, the baseline is 2133. It only boosts up to 3200. If you go up to 34 or 36, it'll become unstable. So it's going from 2133, right, up to 3200 megahertz. So you want it to remain stable. Stay at 3200 megahertz. Don't go over it because you'll kill it. You don't want anything higher than that. 3200 runs fine. Okay. Now, with the Ryzen 5 5600G, they don't recommend anything over 3200. Okay. So, we'll go here. We'll do the Ryzen 5 5600G specs. Okay, so accept all cookies, we know. Okay, see? Right here. Connectivity. Right here. It says system memory specifications. Up to 3200 megahertz. PCI Express version is PCIe 3.0 x16. Just to let you know that. DDR4 2 channels. Okay, you can run 3200 megahertz on 2 channels. But that's if you get a 2-channel board. But if you get a 4-channel board, it'll still stay stable at 3200s times 4. 3200s on all 4 channel. So I'm running that now, and it's proofs in the pudding. Okay, so pretty much this is what it is. It's an unlocked chip, 6-core, 12 threads, up to 4.4. If you run it on auto, it'll go up to 4.6 on its own, running it automatically. So you don't really need an overclock. Just run it on auto. So, and usually if the system's not running on automatic, it's definitely doing the automatic thing. So, but there it is. Pretty much that's cut and dried, everything else. So Ryzen 5 5600G will work well with this RAM here, which we know it will. Okay, so that's a plus and that's a plus. So I wanted you all to keep that in mind. You know, when you're trying to pair up your processor with your motherboard and your motherboard with your RAM in order to get it to work correctly. In order for it to get to work correctly, you have to pair them up. Okay, I paired, and that's what I did when I got the system with integrated graphics originally. Was I paired everything up. The Ryzen 5 5600G with the B450 motherboard and Corsair RAM, the DDR4 3200 megahertz, and it runs like a beast. So, you know, y'all make sure you big shout out to Corsair, big shout out to AMD, and big shout out to Asus. I got, you know, those are all pretty awesome products. Also, don't forget about Crucial. Crucial makes a great hard drive. I got a 1 terabyte hard drive from Crucial. And don't forget about Thermaltake. Thermaltake. I've been running a Thermaltake power supply, 850 watt, for the last 8.5 months. And it's still a beast. And now it's running this RTX 4070. It's a super beast. So don't think that Thermaltake has all bad power supplies. They don't. Just keep that in mind. They don't. They got some good stuff. I got a power supply, Thermaltake power supply in my my Dell over here, my Dell computer. That is a TR2 430. And that's a beast. And you know, that one there is above 10 years old. That's a Thermaltake 10 years old power supply. So I don't know why everybody keeps trying to knock Thermaltake, just like they're trying to knock Asus, just like the, you know, the only thing I knock them everybody on is the pricing. I don't knock you on the equipment, because guess what? If the equipment does above and beyond what it's supposed to do, there's no problem. You know, sometimes you don't meet price to performance. But from performance-wise to the consumer, performance-wise, they do great. Okay, hands down, they do great. Okay, so only thing that what's happening out in the real world is they're just getting knocked on the pricing. If you listen to what everybody's been talking about, they're knocking these companies just about the cost. Not so much the price to performance, it's so much the performance to the consumer. The one part that's being missed is the performance to the consumer. How well will it perform in the consumer's mind? Okay, how well it will perform in physical. Okay, you got to go to that. That's the reason why I spent $600 on this video card, the RTX 4070, was because I was looking at performance to me as a consumer. And does it meet the performance? Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. It meets all my expectations. I got nothing to complain about this. And I've been running this since I've gotten it, about 3 or 4 days ago? I ain't knocking it. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? The thing is running like a raped ape. And that's what I wanted to do. Okay, to run like a raped ape. And do understand, I could overclock this to where, it could run up over 3 gigahertz if I wanted it to. But that's just proven to everybody, what is it going to prove? What is it really going to prove? Proves to me it works. I already seen it. It works. To prove to the YouTubers, you YouTubers out here, it works. Now, if y'all are going to run over there to get yourself a 4060 Ti, an 8 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte 4060 Ti, I prefer to have the 4070 12 gigabyte. Performance wise, hands down, it's going to beat up the 4060 Ti. Hands down. So, take it as you wish. That's just the way it is. I've already tested this card a lot. And I got maybe 1 or 2 more tests I want to do before I call it completed. And doing these tests, I want to make sure that if I'm satisfied, the consumer is going to be satisfied. You're going to be satisfied. Truth and reality. So, but I'm going to leave the video right here, and then when we come back to the next one, we'll go from there. Until, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And I want to welcome all the newcomers to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. Welcome to the family. And all the patrons we have here right now, we thank you for being here, watching our videos, and enjoying our videos. But until the next time in the next video, you know how it is, JJ and JJ's PC Builds. We will see you. We will see you on the next one.